18, just graduated high school now, and she's attending her first year of college, figuring it out for herself. And yes, not only have we had the conversation, we have yearly trips to the gynecologist to check her height.
Oh,
You
okay.
I'm done with you.
Say, look, doc,
She's not.
she don't ride no horses, she don't ride no bikes, she don't play no sports, man. Just check the hymen, please, and give me back my results.
Welcome, everybody. This is Beyond the Walls. You're here with me, your man, Young Brother Better Preach, Harry. I'm here with one, D, Mr. Rico,
Sakafet.
and Sophony.
What? Why you say my name like that? So
Sorry.
funny.
Sorry, not Sophony, Sophony.
Got it.
Thank you.
Sorry. This is Beyond the Walls, and we're here back at it again with another episode for y'all to keep y'all entertained, informed, educated, all of that.
Thinking. Intact,
Yeah,
baby.
and thinking. Yeah, common sense is
Gang,
not so
gang.
common these days. We have a very interesting topic for you today. The title of this podcast, a little risque. I sought approval for this before.
Not really.
We agreed upon this.
They all agree
sort of,
upon it.
sort
Come
of.
on.
But the topic at hand, the name of our podcast is "Let the Church Say Hymen."
Hymen.
Hymen. Let the church say hymen.
My silence is
That's-
intentional.
You know what? Now I'm thinking about it. High men.
Mhm.
High men.
Hi, man. How you doing?
It's a great segue to our next episode too.
It
But
is.
Hello,
never mind.
boys.
Y'all will see that coming out next time.
Hey, boys.
But we wanted to talk about the double standard of sexual morality in our given society,
Yeah.
and even within the walls of our churches,
Yes, sir.
which is very prevalent.
Yep.
And what kicked this off, what sparked this, was the recent interview of rapper T.I. on a podcast, and he gave some of his opinion and feelings on the fact that he monitors his daughter's sex life, i.e. he monitors her physiological, her physiological, what's the word?
Sophony, take it away.
He monitors her hymen, make sure it's still intact,
Yeah.
the integrity of it. There we go. And so let's take it off with Sophony, sorry, and she's gonna kick it off with some of her thoughts on this.
Well, when I first heard about I was at work and my boss she used to be my supervisor. She's not my supervisor anymore.
Not
she walked into-
important.
Yeah, really not important. But she walked in and she's like, hey, did you guys hear about T.I.? You know, so Moon Blanc. She's white, and
That
she
means
comes
white
in
person.
and she's like, yeah, white person. She comes in and she tells me and my coworker that, did you guys hear what happened with T.I.? So she starts explaining the comment that was made, and I was like, fake news. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah,
Couldn't
right.
believe it.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, T.I. did not. And then I'm the type of person, like, the internet, you give them an inch,
You
know,
go a
they
mile.
take a foot. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
people-
So I'm just
people
like,
go
it's
a
probably
long
something
way.
that's super exaggerated.
Mhm.
But then when I got home, actually the next morning, just listening to podcasts in the morning, I like to listen to different podcasts in the morning. I was like, let me look up this T.I. thing. And I start listening to it, and then I'm like, yo, T.I. really said that. So the first thing I was really frustrated about is that the women on the podcast was laughing after he
Yeah.
made the comment.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Well,
okay.
They thought he was joking.
They thought he was joking at first, yeah.
He didn't sound like he was joking.
No.
And then even after that,
when
they
he kept
still,
going.
he kept going, and they still didn't have no response. There was no
Right.
defense. They had no rebuttal for it.
Right.
And so I was just like, I was frustrated. I was furious. It was triggering. I was so mad, and I couldn't believe that T.I. made such a comment. And it's just, even today they had him on the Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett.
Jada Pinkett, yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, okay, let's hear what Tia has to say about this after all this time. And it was still super, he didn't take responsibility for his actions. It was narcissistic. He kind of was blaming, like, he was just like, everybody else is a weirdo. I apologize for how I made my daughter feel. But as for me, it's just like, what I said was, I didn't think people was going to take it literal. It was exaggerated. You know what I mean? I kind of exaggerated everything. No, that wasn't exaggerated. I think
he went into details.
he
so.
went into
Put a
detail.
sticky
And I
note
think-
on
sure.
the door, bro.
right.
Yeah.
Come on.
Gyno at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah,
that's the first
and
thing you
even
wake up
if-
to. Then you go brush your
Yeah.
teeth. Like,
And my thing too is, it's like, even if he was trying to joke around, that's not something to joke
No,
around.
you don't air out something
especially
like
when
that.
this is like a history and a tradition
Yeah.
of, women who are policed and controlled. Their virginity is controlled.
Yeah.
This is a history of this. And so for him to even joke around with something like that, with the platform that he has, is disturbing. I was sick to my stomach. And so yeah, this whole thing, this whole situation is just like, and to hear his response to all of it today was just like, really, T.I.?
That's all you got?
That's all you have? Like, and then his daughter, the reason why he took so long to even talk about it is because his daughter asked him to just drop it. Just leave it alone. Don't say anything. It'll go away. Well, it didn't go away. And she's like, all right, you have to do this.
Yep.
You have to say something.
Yeah.
And her response to everything, she didn't say anything on social media, but she was liking people's comments that was saying that this is disgusting. This is like, and she was like liking those
So
comments.
she
and stuff
made
like that.
backhanded
Yeah.
ways of affirming
Yeah.
that she didn't
ain't
like
with
it.
it.
She didn't
Yeah.
like what happened.
Yeah.
And so, and then too, the thing is, like, there's a double standard here, because here's his young boy who on the show had said that he lost his virginity, and T.I. celebrated that.
Oh,
But
wow.
then you're saying you're going to the gynecologist with your daughter every year, which on Red Table Talk today too, he was saying how, oh, it was exaggerated. I never said I go every year. You definitely said you do go every year. After she opens up her gift, you put that sticky note on the door saying gyno 9:30.
There's so many puns
Yeah,
in what
so
you're
many.
saying. It's just
It's just so many. But then too, it's like, but what if she did lose her virginity?
yeah, what are you going to do then? Oh, you're not valuable to me anymore?
Right. You're not valuable to me anymore. So
Yeah.
what happens if she did? Right. And then two, going to a gynecologist is not to police your daughter's virginity. And I feel like for women, the minute that Mother Nature blesses us with womanhood, dads don't need to be all up in our juice like that.
No,
I don't think I
Like,
want to be.
You shouldn't be all up in.
You said juice,
Yeah.
so I don't want to be. I don't want no.
Kool-Aid.
You know what I mean? And so, first of all, and then he said today too, on Red Table Talk, that the mom, her biological mom goes with her every year. So why are they both going? That's so
Too much pressure for that.
It's too much
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah, for all of that. Yeah.
I think you want to be involved in the sense of being there for support. Like, there are tons of stories where girls, when they first had their first period, their dad was the only one available. Maybe the mom was at work, or she was like, you hear stories about how the dad will go and buy the products for
Yeah.
them and all that stuff. That's great. Do that. Support them. Like, be there for them. Because, in a moment like that, especially if it's their first one, it feels like you feel, I don't know how women feel, but I'm pretty sure they feel a type of way when the first time it happens.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So support is the number one. But when you venture into the realm of policing and controlling and
Especially
almost like it's ownership over an object.
Yeah.
Exactly. Especially because
yeah.
your hymen, you can't determine whether you're virgin or not based on the hymen, because somebody could be sexually active and their hymen be intact.
Yeah.
Or you could
Wow.
break your hymen doing anything.
Yeah.
Gymnastics,
Anything.
all those other, yeah.
So the thing is, the conversation should never be that I'm going to go to these appointments with you every year to make sure your hymen's intact. Because you should just be having the conversation like, okay, if this happens, if this does happen, you should be using protection, or like, this is the next steps to take. I want to have
Right.
this conversation with you because I want to protect you from having sex at a young age.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not ready for that. Like,
Yeah.
there's a conversation to have,
Yes.
but it's not
Yes.
based on whether your hymen is broken
Yeah.
or not.
When
Right.
I first heard it, I kind of like took it from two perspectives. You sent something to the group. Was it protective or was it possession, right? So when I first heard it, I was like, that's kind of out of there. But I see where he's coming from when he talks about protection, right? When you're trying to protect. This is a lot of dudes when they have daughters as far as the mindset goes, because I do ask and I hear interviews all of the time, right? I don't want her to run into somebody like me, right? Not saying that that's not going to stop that from happening. You checking somebody's hymen is not going to stop somebody from spitting game and doing whatever they do, right? But then when you think about it from the possession standpoint, right? I can't speak from a female's perspective, but as another human being to do something that I'm not cool with, and I'm kind of ordered to do so, I'm not cool with that either.
As far as like protection, that he wants to protect, but it's problematic because a lot of African American fathers have this idea that in order for me to protect my daughter, I need to protect her virginity. And that is super
That's not the only aspect.
Problematic. It's problematic.
It's not the only aspect of a woman.
You give the idea, you give the notion that you have control and power over your daughter's body. And it's the wrong message. It's the wrong way to deliver that message.
Because at the same time, if you look at it too, where if something, like if she was in a relationship or something like that and things didn't go right with whatever mate that she has, what is she damaged goods now because her hymen's broken? You feel what I'm saying? Like it's the value that you bring to your daughter when you speak things. When you speak putting sticky notes on her door like, we going to get your hymen checked.
That's rough.
That's rough. You feel me? There's no relationship in that.
That's like driving and just running over a speed
bump.
70 miles an hour.
Now what type of man you think she's gonna look for? With things like that.
She might be too used to someone who's controlling her.
The thing that makes T.I. go to these gynecologist appointments with his daughter is the same thing that fuels female mutilation, right? It's the same concept. It's the same logic. So for me, that was the first thing that came to my mind, because at the end of the day, what those people are doing is they go, the most valuable thing about a female is her virginity. Let's remove the pleasure thing so that we will protect her virginity. So if T.I. was truly trying to protect her, well, why not go that route? But if you bring that up to him, he's gonna go, nah, that's nonsense, that's crazy. I just want to make, like, come on, man. And real quick, secondly, with the T.I. thing, I got to read more books, but I watch a ton of movies. I don't know if you guys seen A Christmas Story, whenever the mom puts like 9 coats on the little kid and then puts the scarf on him and then they leave the house.
Classic movie.
Yeah, and then the kid falls down because he's so like,
layered
up, he can't move. So for me, it's one of these things where like what happened there is, in an attempt to quote unquote protect the kid, it's making life worse for this kid. T.I.'s under the impression that, and I know really what's going on, it's really to protect his reputation. That's really what's going on.
Because here's what happens. Because if his daughter does get pregnant, right, at that age, then you hear, T.I., where was T.I.? How come he's not protecting his daughter? How come he wasn't seeing?
And the guy that impregnates her gets you got the one that was under like heavy like protection security.
For sure.
Well, really, too, if we're keeping it a buck, right? T.I. is very hard on promiscuous women, right? He surrounds himself with promiscuous women, but he's very hard on them too. He's not one to mince words when it comes to a female that has been with his whole crew or whatever the case may be. And so to avoid his daughter gaining that reputation, he pulls this stunt. And then just one of these things that's just ironic and odd to me. I don't know if y'all picked up on this too, where it's like, at another point, he's going to be like, yo, don't take my picture. This is a quote unquote private moment. And you go, if you're going to discuss this.
You need to discuss.
There's no private moment.
There's no private moment. That was her
Open
privacy
season,
that was violated.
For sure.
I was going to say this, one of the reasons why this is, or this mindset that T.I. has, it's not just T.I. who has this. Young viral men tend to worship, whether it be secular or in the church, they idolize a woman's virginity. Secularly speaking, when I first went to high school, my 9th grade year, I was going to a predominantly white school, and so things were really different for me. And I would hear a lot, and not to say that this was said to me because it was at a white school. I'm just giving you a little context. But like the guys would talk, and I didn't understand why they would say what they said. But yeah, like we'd come. It was my 9th grade year, freshman year, and some of the older guys that I knew because I played football, they was like, yeah, you know, going after the fresh meat, and I'm like, yo, well, what's fresh meat? It's like the girls, freshman girls, like they're easy. Like you get like the virgins are the best. Like, and I didn't I was like, why? And like they had to like, I'm not gonna go into detail, but they said, oh, for this reason and this reason. And it's just a mindset that in young men, like they idolize. I don't know where it stems from, but it goes way back.
Nah, for sure.
It goes way back, even into ancient biblical times. You know, if you wanted to marry off your daughter, you had to pay a dowry. And if your daughter was very beautiful, she got a certain amount of goats. You got a certain amount of goats for your daughter. And if, you know, if she still maintained her virginity, you got even more for that because there was more value. And just because it happened in biblical times does not make it biblical. It's not something the Bible cosigns.
Not at all.
Your value is not summed up to your sexual morality.
Yeah.
It's just not. There's so much more to a person than what's going on in the flesh or the physiological. You know?
But to piggyback even on what you said about he pulled this stunt to protect her reputation. That just reminded me because even growing up, I knew there was a situation growing up in church where a girl's reputation was being like, she was being talked about. That
dragged through the mud.
Yeah, dragged through the mud, that she was like, you know, promiscuous and all this other stuff. So her father, to try to protect her reputation, went and pulls a stunt and says, oh, I know my daughter. I check her. I know she's a virgin. Thinking he's doing the right thing.
That just sounds weird.
It sounded so bad and it made the situation so much worse.
Yeah.
But what he was trying to do was protect the daughter's reputation.
But he further embarrassed her.
I
would have moved right to
and
Mexico,
that was
baby.
super inappropriate. That was super inappropriate.
Try to protect.
Sure.
I mean, in Regal's defense, he tried to protect his own image, man.
You know what's funny too is that
that's all it was.
The ironic thing here too, by the way, is that nobody was thinking about this girl's virginity until this guy went.
Exactly.
Until he opened his mouth.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, I shouldn't say nobody. Maybe there was like a handful of people within her circle or school, whatever the case may be.
Maybe.
But now the entire world goes, you know what?
You could be driving in your car listening to the radio. T.I. comes on. It's like, I wonder if his daughter lost her virginity.
Wow.
Yeah,
like,
you know what I mean? That's going to be, and then that's pressure
so
on her
ridiculous.
too. Now that is pressure on her too.
Yeah.
And we don't even know whether or not she is or not. But it's just like that's a lot of pressure on her. You know, it's Taliban behavior. It's an oppression.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's Taliban behavior. It's an oppression over women.
I like that.
And then two,
Very
it's
good.
like, this is why a lot of young girls or women who had sex at a young age or who were violated maybe or whatever the case may be feel so less than and feel like they have no value. And there's a lot of women who, you know, especially in the church, you know what I mean? Because, you know, like in our culture, well, I won't say that, but especially in the church, who are looked as less than, or who have daughters who are virgins, and they look at their daughter like, better than your kid,
way above,
and it feels like no matter what you do, you can get a degree, you can get everything, but you're the girl that lost her virginity.
Yeah, we knew about it
when you were young, or you're
Just
the girl.
FYI, man. Listen, man, your hymen could be fresh, but you still stank, bro.
Most definitely.
That's just what it is. You heard? That's just what it is.
And it's
Most
just
definitely.
nice banana outside, rotten banana inside.
Right, and it's just
horrible
and it's
person.
and you could and that's the thing, and it's just like everything about this, everything.
Regal's trying to hold in his laugh.
Really is.
I think I know why, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna say because one lady said stank, so it's just
For real, bro.
wow. I don't want to. I'm sorry if you were done. If you're
You
not
go
done,
ahead.
I want you to continue.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, sorry. I was gonna say, if T.I. opened up a book and knew the history behind a gyno appointment and where that's rooted from. Look up the man, James Marion Sims. He recently had a statue in Central Park, New York, taken down.
Heard of that.
James Marion Sims, and I read about this in a book I read a few years ago called Medical Apartheid. Go Google that. It's a heavy book to read. Trigger warning if you're going to read that book. But James Marion Sims, he's considered the father of gynecology. And what he would do is during slave times, he owned 3 or 4 slave girls. And so a lot of the tools that they use in a gyno office or anything that has to do with women's reproductive organs was developed by this man. And he did this by doing experiments on these 3 slave girls. No anesthesia, no sort of painkiller, because they believed in that time that black people didn't feel pain.
Right, had thicker skin.
They had thicker skin, they were whatever. And so he would mutilate them in front of people, like young doctors who want to practice medicine, and then he would, give them time off to be able to recover after how many months or whatever, and then he would do more experiments on them. And so if you know this, then you know the heaviness of walking into a gyno office with a woman. When I had to walk, after reading this book, my wife then gets pregnant down the line, and so now I have this on my mind, and I'm so much more focused
and aware
about what they're doing and how they're doing it. And if I feel like you're being too rough, there's something that needs to be said. Like, no, and what they do in these appointments is rooted in pain and not comfort. It's a very different, shout out to women, period.
Right.
Just being a woman, you get a badge of courage and honor because you have to do these things. And I feel like if he was more educated and he knew that, then he would know the heaviness of walking into this appointment.
Right.
Where it's probably most likely a Caucasian doctor checking his daughter. And if he had this weight on his mind, he would know that this is more sacred than I make it out to be. I can't be this way. I need to be supported.
And he said that he doesn't even go into the room.
It's crazy that you mentioned that about, dude from the past and performing in front of his students as well. Yeah. Because honestly, just listening to women talk and asking questions, a lot of them, when they do go to the gyno, it's actually a student performing, and the doctor comes in and kind of coaching them on what to,
sometimes it's a team of students.
Pretty much.
It's
exactly.
a team of students. And they're asking you very invasive questions. They're asking you they have you they have your legs on the stirrups, and that's a very women have to bring themselves very low in a moment like that.
It's already an uncomfortable
situation.
It's
already uncomfortable, even if it is a woman
waiting outside
of there.
Even if it's a woman that's examining you, it can be very
uncomfortable. It's a stranger.
There's another thing about this that is really problematic, which is he didn't touch on his daughter's health either, right?
Exactly. When that's my thing, because no matter how many times we try to,
is more of a health concern.
Right. He didn't want to know about he didn't want to know about fibroids, which is prevalent in African American women.
Very prevalent, and that's exactly what I was just about to say. Is that at the end of the day, trying to protect your daughter has nothing to do with her hymen. Because when you go to the gyno, it's not about when you're checking and you're doing that. It's not about to check if you're a virgin or not. It's for health reasons to make sure that you are healthy and that you're physically fit and that making sure that you are okay. You don't have nothing to do with that. You can have a conversation with your daughter to protect her. There's other ways around that, but sending her to going to the doctor with her, policing her private part, it's a violation against human rights of young women and women, young girls and women. It's a violation of their human rights. That's what that is. And it's something that we're constantly going through, and it needs to stop.
Well, cool. I mean, just looking at just the general picture, it's just mothers are silent, fathers are silent in these type of matters because they feel it's just normal life.
Way too taboo.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I could only speak for myself as a man or whatever. I just feel that men have to be more vocal in these type of areas, because just like we talked about that a couple weeks ago, where we felt that someone from the same group dynamic sometimes isn't too it's not that it's not accepted as much, but it's just coming from someone else opposite of that group.
Yeah.
It becomes more attention, like
for sure. You know, got somebody else promoting your your cause and all of that stuff.
I feel that fathers or even brothers, if fathers are not around or whatever, have to be more vocal. Like, yo, this like.
But
this
knowledge,
is what she's going through,
knowledge is important. I'm just gonna be completely honest, because when I first heard it, I'm a protective dude of my sisters, of my nieces. All of that. Even my nephews have conversations. I have conversations with them about a whole bunch of things. That, you know, if somebody touches you uncomfortable, you let me know. Somebody at school does anything to you, teachers do anything, you let me know. So when I'm thinking about that stuff, I'm thinking about it from a protective standpoint. But again, if you're not knowledgeable about what they actually go through, or the actual, you know, it's a possession thing. It's a possession thing.
It is. And you know what? Now that you're saying that, mothers can also be possessive and policing and controlling too, because you know, I didn't go to a gynecologist until I was like in my late 20s, and I had fibroid tumors that had grown, and I almost passed out. And when I went and I had to go into the hospital, I found out I had fibroid tumors. Why didn't I ever know that I had fibroid tumors? Because my mom never took me to a gynecologist, because if you're going to a gynecologist, that means you're having sex.
Something's going on.
You're having sex. So it was just like, no, you don't go to the gynecologist.
And if you ever asked her to, she would have been like,
why? You know what I mean? So as moms need to be educated on this thing too, that it doesn't have anything to do with the hymen. It's like your health.
So many other aspects.
And especially as African American women who are, like you said, are more prevalent to this. And I have so many of my friends now that I have it, and that have, like, you know, symptoms and signs, and I'm like, have you gone to a gynecologist? And we're in our 30s, and they're like, no, never been. Like, we don't talk about this stuff. This is so taboo. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's the same thing in associating, you know, going to see a gynecologist with virginity and your hymen. Like, it's all around. It's all around.
Yep.
I wanted to, I don't know if we're, what's our time?
Keep going.
No, we good. I think we good.
I wanted to tap into a biblical story where a woman. So Jesus is in a public area. I think he's at the temple, and all of a sudden, this mob of people come in. I don't know how many people it was, but it was just a crowd of people coming in, and they're dragging this naked lady into the temple to bring to Jesus, and everybody's riled up, and they're all like, they bring them to Jesus because Jesus is, you know, he's turning up in the cities, he's preaching, he's doing all this. So he's claiming to be Son of God.
Yep.
So they bring this woman to him. We just caught this lady in the act, which already sounds weird because if she was in a private room with somebody else, how did all this mob of people know about? So it's like rumors are being spread about this lady. So everyone's tacking on, ready to crucify this girl. They bring this woman. We caught her in the act. According to the law, she needs to be stoned and killed. Mind you, they just brought the woman. Where's the dude?
Right.
Double standard.
Double standard, baby.
So Jesus, knowing all of this, he's like, all right, so y'all want to embarrass and bring a naked lady to the temple. Y'all want to embarrass her. So he was like, he bent down, started writing on the ground. And he's like, he who is without sin cast the first stone.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, everybody's like,
never heard that before.
Whoa.
Moonwalked out of it.
He played the game. He played like Jesus played the game with them. He's like, all right, y'all want to go with the law? Let's talk about the law. Which one of y'all that doesn't have sin, throw the first stone.
Or even when Jesus was sitting with the woman at the well, you know what I mean? Like he knew that she was doing her thing. You know what I mean? He was just like, and the one you with, but he never shamed her.
There is no
he
condemnation.
Never shamed her.
There is no condemnation to them who are in Christ.
Thing. It's like, I'm gonna try to protect you by putting you in this bubble of shame, and maybe that can help you to never touch that until it's time.
It sounds like a Haitian man,
and you know,
like a Haitian
exactly.
parent.
But you know what he had said too. They was just like, okay, well, what if you find out that she lost her virginity, and he's like, oh well, now it's time to treat her like an adult. You know what I mean? Because if you want to act like you want to do adult things, you're going to be treated like an adult. And Tiny is like, you could tell she didn't agree with any of that. But at the end of the day, she's like, that ain't my daughter.
Word.
If it's my daughter, we're gonna have a different conversation. So she's like,
was Tiny's hymen intact?
Oh Lord.
See?
But that's not her daughter though.
Oh, this is from another woman.
This is from another woman. That's not her biological daughter.
Doesn't matter. The standard.
Right. No, but she was like disagreeing with T.I.
Okay.
Right. She was disagreeing with him because she was kind of just
That's what I'm saying.
like,
you know, what is being said in that household? Like what? Because at the same time, while she's going through that, is she going at Tiny a different way? Because we don't know her history or whatever, but
yeah. So
that's weird to me, man. That's just
it's weird. But I just try to jump into the mindset of the origin. Everything's about the origin, right?
Yeah.
What are you doing or what happened to make you do this or even think that this is cool
Exactly.
to happen? And being involved with the promiscuous people and so on and so forth, right?
But it's not confusing though. We grew up that way.
Nah, for sure.
Like
For
we
sure.
knew we don't know the origin, but we know that this been passed down for centuries.
Oh yeah, I think T.I., and I said this, before we started, when we were discussing this, was the fact that I think the day that T.I. found out he was going to have his first daughter, I think every memory of every tour that he's been on where he was running trains on females and disrespecting females, what he called a good time, all of a sudden the paradigm shifted.
That's it.
Yep.
And like the glass shattered and it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, nah.
Well, not for nothing, I wouldn't even say after she was born the paradigm shifted, because most of his biggest songs came out after this little girl was born. It's the thing we men do, which is compartmentalize, which is we go.
Oh, we're very good at that.
You know what I mean? Where we go, it'd be like there's a list of 25 to 30 females that are like not to be messed with, not to be touched with. Usually they're related to us or related to our homeboys, and then everybody else can get it. And
Yeah.
That's very true.
And you go to yourself, and so if you look at a dude like T.I., one of his biggest hits is a song called Tip Drill, right?
Never heard of it.
A song so vulgar they couldn't even play the video.
BET Uncut,
Right,
baby.
they couldn't
After
even play-
12
they
to
couldn't even-
1
They
p.m.,
couldn't even play the
1
video
a.m. it'll be on.
at civilized hours,
I
right?
don't recall. Never heard of
And
it.
so you go, so Mr. Tip Drill is so concerned about sexual morality that he is forcing his daughter to sign a consent form to make sure she is not engaged.
He said
in that,
Mr. Tip Drill.
My goodness.
right? And
His name is Tip, though. You know,
It is
so
Tip.
kinda,
It's funny.
So it's like, for me again, fellas, we got to do better.
For sure.
T.I. is somebody who a lot of people look up to. He's wrong here.
Yeah.
He's having trouble admitting it. And I see a lot of people like bigging him up, like, nah, you're doing the right thing. And it's like, no.
Nah, bro. No.
Have we ever seen a situation in which a female is treated like a possession, locked up in her room, and then at the slightest sight of freedom, she goes, oh, okay, I'm going to be reasonable?
Cage bird. Nah. They
No.
fly the coop.
They don't be reasonable.
well, that's like most of
The
most
moment
of
they get the opportunity to be
Yeah.
free, they take it to the utmost extremes.
Yeah.
In our community, that league
That's
is called
it.
La
Yeah.
Kai. When you
Soon as
hit,
you out
like,
of there.
usually it
When
happens
they
when you
hit
hit
that-
when you
yeah.
hit college,
Club,
and
cocaine,
you're independent and you can do your own.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
They want to
you
taste
go-
of all of it.
You go crazy.
Yeah.
Nah, for
You
sure.
go crazy, and that's it's all part of balance and giving your kids a little bit of freedom to be able to taste it and know how to control themselves within it, or know how to act in freedom.
And it's,
You know what I'm
and
saying?
it's all about education. I'm like
Education,
really,
for
it's
sure.
all
Yeah,
about
education
education,
is-
and I'm
is so
really,
key.
really, really disappointed. That's why I'm so disappointed in T.I. out of all people who had the opportunity to change the narrative, and he just threw
And who
wood
is
into
somewhat different from his peers too.
Malcolm X
Right.
Jr.
Yeah.
who
But
exactly.
Is he different or he uses big words?
He
Is
Yeah.
he different or he uses big words?
Expedition is a 5-syllable word, so he definitely covers up a lot of it with.
He
You know what I mean?
uses big words. I'll
Definitely
give
does.
yeah.
You
He
feel
does.
me?
you know what?
Yeah.
He does some action. He does.
He,
But I'm not here to.
so
line
you're
up.
making
mean, I don't
actually.
I agree.
I actually gotta rebuke myself. You're making a great point, right? Like he does make an effort to speak out on things that are happening.
Bring
that he-
awareness.
right?
Most
You know what I
definitely.
mean?
Which why I'm so
Absolutely.
disappointed.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Because
you
we
can find
have
a
the
political
opportunity-
panel
when you're
have
wrong.
the
Hold on.
opportunity.
Right now,
That's it.
he's doing that.
No,
what
he's
I'm
still
saying?
not.
No, what I'm saying, the things that we're speaking on right now, he wasn't doing that 10
back
years
then.
ago.
Now, here's what's interesting too, because I try to look at the bright spot of everything. This is like a super important conversation.
Yeah.
It's been brought about in the most ignorant of ways. But it's a super
It's
important
out there.
conversation.
It's
It's
really
out
there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, at the expense of a young girl's
For sure.
like mental
Life.
Right.
Yeah, just
Everything. That's
she
nuts.
probably's nervous about this all day.
Yeah.
Like when
Big.
people see her and look at her,
she's
Yeah.
an
Right,
object.
right.
She's
Nah,
not-
she's
do they
an
know?
object.
Do they know?
right,
Do they
right,
know who?
right,
I,
right.
do they know who I am? Do they know who my dad is?
Right.
Yeah,
And you know, and you know, just to kind of end things off, but it's even after he made such an ignorant statement, he had the opportunity to still change it around, and he still didn't. You know what I mean? With the red table talk, he still was kind of just like,
Stuck up
everybody's
about it.
weirdos, and he didn't take ownership of it,
Right.
and and turn the tables.
Yeah.
He didn't do that, and so it's still like, oh, come
Pride
on.
always comes before the
Pride.
fall.
It
baby.
always does, and
Oh,
it's
yes,
sad, and it's
yes.
really sad, and I'm really,
Goes
really
before
disappointed
destruction,
about
most
that.
definitely.
But I hope that this conversation continues, and I hope that, especially the men in this generation, that they do change the narrative and have these conversations with the young men
Yeah.
and women. You know what I mean? There's not this double standard, and it's all around. And why, we're having these conversations. Why I want to protect you. And it goes back to what we were talking about when we were a couple of episodes ago, of just like a lot of things that we wouldn't have gotten involved in if our parents were just honest and real with us instead of policing. You know what I mean?
They think because they left Haiti, they left all their,
Transgressions.
yeah, they left that all the way over. Then they got
Word.
here. They think
Yeah.
they
It's
good,
good, bro.
Like
It
no,
was in
You
the
know
back
what?
little
No.
it was a zip in the suitcase.
They forget-
They crept
they
in there. They with you, baby.
Yeah.
It's with you.
relocated
It
for
is
that
what it is.
When they tell you I was the first one to get converted, and what happened before that?
Yeah,
Right,
for
right.
sure.
You
Yo,
feel
I
me?
love
What
those
was the
questions.
history
I love
What
those
happened before
conversations.
that?
For sure.
Yeah, so
Oh.
I hope it continues.
Well, let the church not say hymen then.
yes,
In that
let's
case.
let
Yeah.
the church
Let us
not
say
him.
amen.
Let us say
let's really
amen.
say amen.
Amen.
Yeah, let's agree.
Let the church say
I wanted to
amen.
finish off with just a question. D, you want $20?
I do want $20.
Chris, $20?
Yes. What do I have to do for it?
You still want it?
Oh God.
Yes.
Do you still want this $20?
Yes.
You sure? Because now it's on the floor. It's dirty now.
It holds the same value.
It holds the same value.
Hey,
Glory, 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 glory.
Brother
You
Harry
should have
better
been
So
peep.
whether hymen is broken or not, the
You're
value
still
is
valuable.
still there.
Still
You're
there.
still valuable.
That's good.
And
Don't
that
down
$20
yourself.
is still mine.
Now you can give it to me.
This is Beyond the Walls, y'all.